Hi Sagittarius, this is your forecast for the month of September 2018. This is a general reading for Sagittarius Sun, Sagittarius Rising, or Sagittarius Moon. For a more rounded overview, please watch your rising and moon sign as well. So Sagittarius, this first week you are really putting some mental force towards something. There's something that you are applying your will towards. Now, you may be coming up with some new ideas. You may be trying to get to the truth, cut through some kind of fog in a situation. You want to gain some clarity. And in the process, you may be coming up with some brilliant ideas, some unconventional solutions. You're seeking justice and fairness with regard to something. So this could be a week where you have a lot of ideas. There are new ways of thinking, of relating to others, new ways of communicating. And either you are introducing new concepts and ideas to someone, or you may be receiving that. This is also about, having your freedom and using your thinking skills in order to acquire that freedom. For some of you, this is going to mean connections to people who are involved with the law, legal administrators. It could be a lawyer, it could be a judge. It could be that you're dealing with somebody who has authority, somebody who can make decisions. For others of you, this is a medical issue where you're dealing with a surgeon or a medical specialist of some sort. And in other cases, you may be involved in something very confrontational where either maybe you're struggling for a cause or somebody's really trying to forcefully push through their ideas, and sometimes in a negative way. It could be sarcasm. It could be sharp speech. Maybe you're dealing with somebody who is a bully or an exploiter of some kind, but you are entering a new cycle, again, of communication, of thinking, relating, and of awareness. And this is a week where you're going to try to gain your own personal power. And you may, need to rely on your faith in order to do so. You may have many stimulating conversations with other people. And you are thinking about relationships in a new and different way. But for some of you, there's some hesitance in moving forward. Maybe, something has broken down between you and another person. Maybe somebody's withholding affection, or they're not speaking, or you are waiting for the other person to make that first move or the decision or the choice. Although you are distinctly aware of what's going on and what's missing, and you can identify that with regard to your social or romantic connections. And this is also a week where, there's a focus on gains, whether you could win or lose, and possibly more than you expect. Now, you may be getting to the truth of something. You may be forming some kind of agreement or contract. This may have to do with travel or, some new horizon, either intellectually or as far as business. Again, freedom could be the focus, or not dealing with things and simply running away. Now, you may be scattered in your thinking. Maybe, something goes against you. Maybe there's a decision that goes against you, or you're so analytical that you're overthinking a situation. It could be that somebody withdraws an offer. Or again, there's been an abuse of power where something is unfair, something is destructive, and maybe somebody is disregarding the feelings of other people. They're being they're using their power negatively or destructively. Somebody's being dominated. And in other situations, there could be some kind of problem, perhaps with surgery. So you may decide to take the first step this week. You may decide to put your thoughts, your feelings out there, let things be known, put your cards on the table. But this could also be, again, a week of power struggles where accusations are flying back and forth. And, somebody may say that, they have put on a false face, or they've misrepresented in some way. They haven't been truthful. Could also be that there's some misinterpretation of what has been said or done. But at the very least, this is a week where you get to discover the truth, you get to gain some clarity, and you get to find out where you stand, how you are seen in the eyes of another, and you get to share that with that person as well. Now, the second week, you have more air energy. You may be dealing with a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female, or somebody connected to the traits of the King of Swords. For some of you, this is going to represent, perhaps again, that lawyer, a doctor, a leader, a specialist, could be a government official, could be a professional person, could be your own father, or somebody who is aggressive, either for good or for the negative. Now, positively, this is somebody that is fighting for your interest. They may be offering you some advice. They may be making some decisions. This is also going to be a week, again, where freedom is important. Somebody does not want any limitations placed on them. In fact, they resent that. This is, making some decisions, setting some new wheels in motion, and something about this week, you are trying to gain an upper hand, or you are trying to defend yourself in some way. So once again, this is about having judgment and using your authority to move forward, or getting some sound advice. So for some of you, you're involved in some kind of arbitration, or you're coming in contact with some expert, you're trying to gain some expertise. You may be pushing something because you feel very strongly. You're acting on your conviction, and you are committed to something, and you're drawing on the strength of your character in order to push it through. In other cases, there's a lack of intimacy, a lack of heart or sensitivity. Somebody may be out of touch with their emotions or their feelings. This is a person who is very good at linear thinking, problem solving, coming up with solutions, answers. But as far as the emotional arena, this person may have a shortcoming. They may have anxiety about situations, and when that happens, they may turn devious as a response to that. This is somebody that usually, again, holds some kind of authority or power or status. So you are dealing with issues where you're looking at possibilities this week. This may be something intellectual where you want to put your creative forces at work. Maybe you're starting something, or maybe you're making a decision between head and heart, and the determination of where you need to be lighter, more playful, more adventurous. Once again, though, it could be that either you or someone else is reluctant to move forward, to say the words that need to be said. It could be, again, you're connecting on a short term with someone because that connection merely serves a purpose to make a decision, to get some information. And when that exchange takes place, then the relationship is over with. But for others of you, there's a lack of action. Something is not happening or moving forward. And maybe that's because signals are being crossed. People are saying one thing, then they're doing something differently, or they're saying something and then they're not following through. Negatively, again, this could be an unfair decision. It could be some ruthlessness, or somebody's using poor judgment. And, events could be tainted with suspicion, accusation, revenge. Something could be very severe and probably driven by manipulation or some kind of lust for power. Somebody may be trying to intimidate another person. Now, this could be a week where you're dealing with some kind of legal problem, but most of your negative situations this week are triggered by a lack of action, a lack of moving forward, maybe not making the decision or making poor decisions. Now, the third week, once again, you have this air energy. For some of you, you're connecting to a Libra person. But there's this running theme of truth, of justice, of fairness, and balancing those scales. So, there's a strong indication that you are dealing with somebody in authority who has the power to make decisions, or you are taking on more authority. It could be that, if there's been some kind of confrontation or argument, there's a need to apologize, either on your part or someone else. Again, could have been some false accusations. Somebody is corrupt, or somebody's deciding that they're going to take the law into their own hands. Somebody may be treated unfairly. This could be a week where you're focusing on righting those scales, settling old debts, whether they are financial or emotional or karmic. And this is a week where it's important for you to think clearly, for you to be objective, impartial, neutral with regard to a situation so that you can restore order. For some of you, this is going to mean a focus on the financial, being careful, coming up with a strategy, having some accountability, acting with integrity in circumstances, and really thinking carefully before you make a move and your choices. So you're going to have an overall sense of the big picture, a clear vision of what is right, what is wrong, so that you can move forward. Now, some of you, maybe you're involved in a trial, a court case, a contract, some kind of litigation, some kind of binding agreement, maybe a settlement. This could be a marriage contract, a business agreement, a divorce agreement. For some of you, again, if this was as simple as an argument, maybe this is about an apology. So you're all throughout the month, you're dealing with issues of where things are out of balance, where things may be unfair, where somebody may be abusing authority or power. And there are new situations this week that you're going to have to deal with and make some changes for. Now, you may be willingly making those changes. Maybe there's someone in your life that you care about and you're willing to accommodate this person. It could be, something unexpected occurs, and maybe you've changed your stance and now you're going to change your position because that's what you want. In some cases, again, we get back to that Ace of Swords and the winning or losing more than you expected. You may have to accommodate some kind of loss this week, and so you're having to make some changes. And this entire month is about judging and being judged. And so this is you, being up to snuff, because when you're not, others are going to be looking at you and calling you out on your mistakes and your shortcomings. So you are having to look at, some area of your life or all of your life, your health, your work affairs, your domestic affairs, your daily living, to see where you are out of balance and to try to restore that. You're having to look at whether you've been taking on too much or not enough, or perhaps if something has been unfair, maybe someone in your life hasn't been pulling the load enough. So again, you want this fair outcome and you are making some changes. And this is a week where something that you thought probably that you had put to rest or was complete or finished now is taking on new life. Maybe you want that, maybe you don't. There's a sense of renewal this week where you are reprioritizing and reorganizing your agenda so that you can have greater peace of mind, so that you can meet your duties, your obligations, and responsibilities. But for some of you, you may be trying to get away from something. You might want to put the past behind you. But it could be a week where it's difficult for you to remove yourself from certain issues. You may be a party to something. If you, let's say you're a juror or you're a witness or you have to give testimony or your account of something, or you're connected to people who are in a dispute or mediation, it may be difficult for you. You may play a key role whether you want to or not. And it may be difficult for you to extricate yourself from that situation. And again, this is about, being impartial. You're going to have to address your own self-doubt, because if not, you may end up following some bad advice. The more comfortable you are with yourself and your own intellect and your own judgment, you're going to be able to determine where you need to make changes. What's trivial? What's significant? What battles should be fought? What things should I just let go? And so you're going to have to trust your judgment so that you can judge other people and circumstances so that you can make decisions that are best for you. It could be that you're having to look at where you have been quick to judge, or where you may have been operating through some kind of prejudice or bias. Maybe someone said something and you took offense to that. Maybe you felt criticized or victimized or assaulted in some way, where perhaps you misread, you misinterpreted what was said, and then you got angry, or you were on guard. So this is about really making sure that you have the proper perspective, that you're seeing things clearly, so that you don't create more confusion in a situation. But, this may have to do with resurrecting a partnership, breathing new life into some kind of partnership. Now, the last week you have this 10 of Pentacles, and for some of you, part of all of this decision making may have to do with the government. It could have to do with a large corporation or some institution. For some of you, you may be dealing with someone wealthy, or there could be some family concerns that you're focused on. This is a week where you're making decisions, you're trying to restore the balance, and you're willing to take on more responsibility, not only for yourself, but other people and circumstances, perhaps, where things have not been fair. So you could find yourself in discussions this week where maybe you are trying to come up with some kind of settlement or some kind of contract or agreement, and you may be discussing things like taxes or insurance or savings, or perhaps in some cases maybe an inheritance. And if you're self-employed, you may be looking at ways to expand your business, new opportunities, perhaps selling it or branching out in some way. And so this is a week that focuses on your material abundance, not just for the here and now, but for the long term. You're looking into the future, and there are ties to the past as a roadway to the future. So you are focused on your affluence and creating wealth, perhaps, having that money for a rainy day. Now, this may tie to, increasing your salary or having something, in place as a safety net. It could be having a comfortable home or property. So some of you may be focused on making a major purchase where a contract is involved. It could be, some business deal, could be a piece of property, some investment. And again, you're looking at things that will last you into the future, a pension, a trust fund, some legacy of some sort. And for some of you, this is totally focused on concerns about a parent. Maybe you're looking at retirement, or that you have, an older relative that you have a concern for. So this could be a week where you're looking at the long term. There's some major transitions taking place, and you want something that is of permanence, that can provide security. And this could be a week where, an appreciation for life is important, abundance, feeling contented about something. So you could be in financial discussions. For some of you, maybe you're dealing with medical issues or specialists. Maybe either you or someone close to you has some kind of medical issue, some kind of condition that has to be addressed. Maybe it's an ongoing medical situation, and this is the time where that needs to be addressed. You need to give attention to that. For some of you, something is not fair or balanced. You may have to take the slack for somebody financially, or vice versa. Or perhaps you're trying to branch out. You're looking to get a line of credit or extend yourself in some way. And you're not getting the very best deal. You're having to pay a super high interest rate, or something about what you're involved in has some negative consequences. So for some of you, you may be trying to hold on to property or some kind of investment, and maybe you're having to be particularly frugal right now. For others of you, there are arguments, confrontations, and decisions to be made, specifically because of family disputes over money, disputes over what's fair, what's right. Your ties to people that connect to your destiny are going to either be strengthened this week or weakened in some way. You may be meeting with disapproval of other family members. You may have suffered some kind of loss, or there's some domestic problems, or for some of you, unfortunately, maybe there's a death that you're having to deal with, or some investment that carried a risk and didn't pay off. So you may be restructuring your finances this week. You may be involved in confrontations with the family somehow, and maybe you decide ultimately to reject what is traditional or conventional, and you may find yourself outside of the circle where members of the family are estranged from one another. Now, the underlying energy, though, is this Ace of Wands. This is about a fresh start and being enthusiastic and excited about moving forward. So for some of you, there's some kind of contract or movement forward where you're involved in a new project, perhaps a new job, some new start. Could be something creative, could be a relationship, but you feel confident about it. You're ready to move forward with this new life. Maybe it's either solidifying the past or moving on from the past. So this is a passionate beginning where you're planting some seeds. Could involve new people, new friends, new acquaintances, new connections, or your current relationships are evolving in some way and you're gaining some insights. So for some of you, you are involved in something where, again, you're getting some clarity. You have better understanding of a situation, and you now realize that you are better off, or you're better prepared to deal with something than you expected. And it's your desire, your aspiration, your ambitions that are driving things forward. Something is going to change during this month where you know more about you. And then that's going to trigger some changes in the way you relate, your social habits, your behavior. And given the circumstances, either you're going to become more emotional, available, or less so. So it could be that you're getting some kind of agreement in place that renews your financial security. And because you feel solidified, you feel safe, you now have desire for connections with others, companionship, or perhaps now you can better take care of your family. You have a greater sense of security, and now you can get back to focusing on the emotional side of relationships, and those become better due to some kind of boost. For some of you, the fresh start is going to involve travel of some sort. For others of you, this is going to be expansion, whether that's your education, your connections, or your finances or business. For others of you, you're pushing boundaries. You're entering new territory, for better or for worse. And for some of you, there is a need to try something new. It could be that, again, if you're off to a rocky start, you're in confrontation, there's been an abuse, an imbalance, and people are at odds, you may find that some connection is very vulnerable, and more so than you thought. There's some outside pressure, some external forces that are weighing in on your connection to another person. You're having to deal with other people's problems. For some of you, you may not be using the best judgment. You may surprise other people by what you decide to do. You may even surprise yourself. You may start a relationship knowing that it's not a good situation and that it's probably doomed to fail. Or if you are quarreling with family or loved ones, you may suddenly decide to end that relationship, And it may happen in a way where both of you are surprised and taken aback. So for some of you, you may be turned off by circumstances. There could be some unfulfilled expectations. Somebody's not delivering what's promised, and there's some disappointment because of it, or a lack of feeling, a loss of passion. So for some of you, this may involve a project that you thought had potential and it just doesn't get going. Or maybe if this is a physical situation, there's a loss of energy. Maybe you don't know how to move forward. There's a lack of ideas, or you feel powerless or pessimistic. So this could be a month that focuses on pioneering, being an entrepreneur, seeking adventure, going beyond, initiating something, and people who create. And again, your ambitions, your desires are driving situations. Now, this is going to be a month of changes to your ambitions, where you are focused on closing up a cycle, dealing with loose ends, unfinished business, again, settling old debts, whatever they may be. And so you can make way to enter a new cycle. Your perspective may change in a positive way. You have one major card. This is the Justice card. So this is a focus again on restoring balance and doing so with integrity. You will have to be on guard, vigilant about where you may be abusing power, or where you're having to protect yourself in dealing with abuses of power. And there's some kind of dilemma. There's some uncertainty about a decision. Whether you have enough information, whether you can trust your instincts, your intuition, whether you are, in fact, stuffing down your feelings and adequately addressing your emotions about something. In some cases, you're waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for the tide to turn, or, you're using the wait game as a strategy. But you are at odds in some way, whether that is with others or yourself, or again, you may find yourself at the center of some kind of controversy or conflict. There is, two separate beginnings for you because you have two aces. So something connected with the intellect and your desires. You are having a new beginning. But there could be a lack of sensitivity. Could be somebody's devoid of emotion. There's some coldness to a situation, or you've simply decided that logic rules the day. You have lots of swords in here. So, there could be excessive thinking or analytical skills being used. There's focused mental clarity, and that's going to save the day. But this can also be a ruthlessness, and there's likely to be some ethical concerns that are in focus, as well as your social and political ambitions. But there is some dissension here where somebody's going to get carried away with their thinking. And in spite of the ability to use logic, it's going to be difficult to maintain the sense of reality. All right, Sagittarius, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Please subscribe if you did. Don't forget you can join me on Instagram or my blog for a daily post, or at Patreon for some extra perks. And of course, you can always book a personal reading at thealchemistastrologer.com.